Every woman has been called dramatic at least once, sometimes as an insult, sometimes as a diagnosis. It usually happens when she reacts too loudly, feels too deeply, or refuses to smile through disappointment. "You're overreacting," he says. "Calm down," they say. But beneath that word drama hides a deeper truth. It's not that women crave chaos. It's that the world keeps mistaking intensity for aliveness. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Many women stay in relationships that swing between tenderness and tension because the instability feels real. Predictability feels dull. The heart confuses adrenaline for passion, and the brain rewards the confusion. In biology's oldest language, intensity equals importance. A fight, a cold shoulder, a sudden apology, all trigger the same chemicals that make love feel electric. She isn't addicted to pain. She's addicted to feeling something after feeling nothing for too long. Modern life amplifies this craving. When the everyday turns beige, spreadsheets, emails, routines, the nervous system starts begging for color. So when someone walks in who makes her pulse spike, her brain calls it chemistry, but it's often withdrawal relief. The crash after the high feels awful, but at least it's alive. Calm, by comparison, feels like silence after music. Society punishes women for wanting emotional voltage, yet sells it back to them in movies, playlists, and reality TV. Drama becomes both the thing they're blamed for and the thing they're taught to expect. The irony is brutal. She doesn't want chaos. She wants meaning. She's chasing the rush biology designed to make her pay attention. So maybe the question isn't why women crave drama. It's why ordinary life leaves them starving for intensity in the first place. The mechanism behind this craving isn't mystery, it's chemistry. When the body experiences emotional intensity, whether from love, conflict, or uncertainty, it releases a powerful cocktail of dopamine, adrenaline, and cortisol. That mix feels intoxicating. Heightened alertness, sharpened focus, and an almost cinematic sense of being alive. The brain reads that stimulation as significance. The stronger the emotion, the more real it feels. Over time, this creates what psychologists call an arousal-addiction loop. The nervous system learns to equate instability with depth. Calm relationships, no matter how healthy, start to feel flat, not because they lack love, but because they lack spikes. The brain becomes conditioned to chase tension the way gamblers chase luck. The next argument, the next reconciliation, the next rush of "we're okay again." That's the hit. It's not romance. It's neurochemistry disguised as passion. Women are particularly vulnerable to this loop because social conditioning trains them to feel through connection. They're rewarded for empathy, punished for detachment. So when a relationship offers emotional fireworks, it activates both biology and belonging. The paradox is painful. The same system built to keep her bonded also keeps her hooked on volatility. Eventually, calm becomes withdrawal. She starts a fight just to feel the pulse again. She overthinks, overanalyzes, creates storms in the still water, not because she enjoys chaos, but because her body's learned to mistake anxiety for aliveness. She's chasing a feeling, not a person. And that's the quiet tragedy. This isn't irrational, it's learned. And anything learned can be unlearned. But first, she has to name the real addiction, not to drama, but to intensity itself. She doesn't mean to chase chaos, but it keeps finding her. One week she's laughing until midnight, wrapped in a conversation that feels electric. The next, she's crying in the same room, wondering how something that feels this deep could hurt this much. He pulls away. She feels panic. He returns, and the rush floods her system like warm lightning. The cycle becomes familiar, even comforting. When things are calm, she starts to itch with unease, waiting for the next emotional spike. It's not self-destruction, it's regulation. Her nervous system has learned that love lives in the rise and fall, not the stillness in between. Another woman lives a quieter version of the same loop. Her partner isn't volatile, he's simply distant, so she provokes small conflicts just to feel something crack the surface. A sarcastic comment here, a cold tone there, anything to spark a reaction that reminds her she still matters. The silence afterward hurts, but the silence before was worse. Then there's the friend who breaks up and reconciles so many times, her circle stops keeping count. Every reunion feels cinematic, heart-pounding, tears, forgiveness, the promise to start fresh. She's not addicted to the man. She's addicted to the drama of resurrection. Calm doesn't feel like peace to her. It feels like death. The irony is that when she finally meets someone kind, consistent, and emotionally safe, her first reaction isn't comfort, it's boredom. She tells herself, something's missing. What's missing is the chaos her brain has mistaken for chemistry. Until she learns the difference, she'll keep mistaking emotional turbulence for proof of love, unaware that the high is just biology whispering, "You're alive." Underneath the craving for drama is an ancient survival system doing its job a little too well. The body doesn't care whether emotion comes from love or stress, it just tracks stimulation. When the amygdala senses excitement or uncertainty, it floods the body with cortisol and adrenaline. The heart races, pupils dilate, and dopamine reinforces the memory, saying, "This matters." The brain was designed to prioritize intensity because, for most of human history, calm meant nothing was happening. And nothing happening could mean danger lurking. Modern relationships, though, don't need constant threat to survive. But the nervous system hasn't updated its software. Emotional intensity still signals importance, even when it's toxic. This is why many women report feeling alive during conflict and numb during peace. It's not that they want the fight, it's that their body translates quiet as absence. Psychology amplifies the effect. From childhood, girls are socialized to be emotionally expressive, to process connection through feeling. When those feelings spike, their sense of identity spikes too. A dramatic moment becomes proof that they exist within the relationship. Calm, by contrast, feels like erasure. Over time, this creates a dependency loop. Conflict fuels chemistry, chemistry fuels bonding, and bonding reinforces the cycle. The cruel twist is that the very thing that once protected them, emotional attunement, becomes the thing that traps them in patterns of volatility. Yet biology isn't destiny. The same systems that make her crave chaos can be retrained to crave depth. The key is not removing emotion, but reframing what aliveness feels like. When she learns that peace can be passionate and stillness can be sacred, she stops mistaking adrenaline for love and finally lets her body rest in calm that feels earned, not empty. The signs that a woman is addicted to emotional intensity aren't always obvious. They hide beneath the language of passion and connection, showing up as small habits that feel romantic but are really neurological withdrawal. The first sign is emotional whiplash. She swings from joy to despair in minutes, confusing emotional depth with volatility. The second is boredom instability. When things go smoothly, she feels uneasy, picking at the calm until it breaks. The third is story addiction. She narrates her relationships like movies, subconsciously creating plots that give her emotions something to feed on. The fourth is overinterpretation. She reads too deeply into small gestures, looking for subtext because plain sincerity feels too quiet. The fifth is conflict craving. She starts arguments not because she's angry, but because peace feels like being ignored. The sixth is rush recovery. After a fight or breakup, the reunion feels euphoric, reinforcing the belief that intensity equals intimacy. The seventh is validation loops. She checks her phone constantly, not out of insecurity, but for the dopamine burst of a message, a reaction, a digital pulse of existence. The eighth is narrative nostalgia. She romanticizes past chaos, forgetting how drained it made her, remembering only the chemical highs. And the last is the quiet test, when someone new treats her with patience and consistency. She feels suspicious, waiting for the storm. These patterns aren't proof of immaturity. It's self-awareness. Because once she sees the pattern, she can start chasing peace with the same intensity she once chased pain. The goal isn't less emotion, it's better emotion. Calm doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means something healthy finally is. The antidote to drama isn't dullness, it's regulation. The women who break free from emotional intensity don't stop feeling. They start filtering. They learn that excitement isn't proof of love, and peace isn't proof of absence. The first counter signal is awareness, recognizing that the spark they crave is often just adrenaline in disguise. The second is practicing neutrality, responding instead of reacting, letting silence exist without rushing to fill it. In the beginning, calm feels like detox. Her brain demands spikes, and when they don't come, she mistakes the quiet for emptiness. But she stays with it anyway, breathing through the urge to stir chaos just to feel alive. Over time, her nervous system adjusts, trading volatility for steadiness, anxiety for stability. Resilience looks boring from the outside, but revolutionary from the inside. She starts seeking partners who feel grounding instead of thrilling, who listen instead of perform. They don't make her heart race, they make her shoulders drop. Slowly, she learns that safety can feel like attraction too. The key isn't to eliminate emotion, but to reassign value, to understand that peace has a pulse, just slower, steadier, and kinder. She starts building rituals that nourish instead of deplete, morning walks, journaling, deep breathing before texting back. The body learns to associate calm with meaning, not boredom. And when conflict arises, she doesn't panic or escalate. She observes, responds, then returns to center. That's resilience, staying conscious when the old wiring begs for chaos. The day she realizes she no longer needs drama to feel alive is the day she discovers what real aliveness actually feels like. Not the kind that spikes and crashes, but the kind that lasts. The craving for emotional drama doesn't grow in a vacuum. It's fed. The biggest antagonists aren't toxic partners or bad luck. They're the invisible forces that monetize emotional volatility. Social media is the first amplifier. Every scroll serves up highlight reels of passion, heartbreak, and spectacle, teaching the brain that emotional intensity is normal and calm is irrelevant. The algorithms reward outrage and obsession, not moderation. The more extreme the emotion, the more engagement it earns, and the more your nervous system learns to crave it. Entertainment is the next amplifier. Movies, songs, and stories glorify chaos as chemistry. Romances that begin in conflict and end in destruction are labeled epic. Subtlety doesn't sell, so we start to believe that love must be loud to be real. Culture rewires attention toward extremes. Even therapy content online sometimes fuels it, turning introspection into identity. I'm anxious attachment becomes a badge instead of a bridge out of it. Then comes the environment itself. Overwork, caffeine, deadlines, and screens keep the body in low-grade fight or flight, priming it to seek release through emotional spikes. It's not that women love drama, it's that modern life has trained their biology to need stimulation to stay awake. The final amplifier is memory. The mind edits pain like a film, keeping the music and fading the misery. Nostalgia makes chaos look romantic. You forget the exhaustion and remember only the adrenaline. These amplifiers keep intensity alive long after logic dies, but awareness weakens them. Once you see how external forces profit from your instability, the craving starts to lose its grip. The real rebellion in a world addicted to drama isn't apathy, it's serenity. Stillness becomes resistance. Calm becomes power. The cost of craving drama is invisible at first. It hides behind the thrill, the laughter after a fight, the makeup texts, the dizzying highs that make the lows feel worth it. But eventually, the nervous system burns out. Chronic adrenaline leaves the body wired but weary. Sleep falters, digestion slips, mood swings widen. The same rush that once felt like vitality begins to feel like anxiety wearing perfume. Emotion becomes exhaustion dressed as excitement. The relationships start to mirror the chemistry. Volatile, short-lived, intense in the beginning, and hollow at the end. Partners who once felt magnetic now feel manipulative. They're drawn to the same energy that drains them both. Over time, trust erodes. She stops believing in stability, mistaking consistency for emotional poverty. The body keeps score, muscle tension, migraines, gut unrest, the constant hum of fight or flight that never turns off. And it's not just physical. The emotional hangover of chaos changes how she views love itself. She begins to equate calm with danger, assuming every peaceful moment is the calm before another storm. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If peace feels suspicious, chaos feels familiar. Friendships suffer too. Even simple kindness begins to bore her. She doesn't realize that what she calls intuition is often withdrawal. The consequence isn't heartbreak, it's numbness. When everything burns bright, nothing feels warm. Eventually, the high stops working. What's left is emptiness that feels heavier than sadness, a silence so profound it echoes. The tragedy is that the craving started as a search for connection, but ends as an addiction to adrenaline. And the cure is almost insulting in its simplicity. to stop chasing the storm and learn to sit through sunlight without needing thunder to make it real. Agency begins the moment she realizes drama isn't destiny, it's conditioning. She starts by naming the pattern out loud, the way she confuses calm for boredom, or kindness for weakness, or stillness for emotional absence. Awareness alone doesn't fix it, but it gives her a choice. Instead of reacting to every spike of emotion, she pauses and asks, "What am I actually craving right now?" That question becomes her new compass. When the urge to provoke rises, she notices it without shame. When she feels the old rush calling her back, she breathes through it instead of following. Slowly, she builds a new kind of addiction, one to peace that feels earned rather than empty. She learns that the heart doesn't need to sprint to feel alive, it can walk steadily and still arrive. Her agency deepens when she redefines what chemistry means. It's no longer chaos disguised as passion, but curiosity that feels safe. A voice that calms, not a silence that punishes. A consistency that doesn't cage her but frees her to grow without fear of collapse. This isn't apathy, it's maturity. She begins to choose partners who don't trigger her survival system but soothe it. The absence of panic starts to feel like luxury. She realizes emotional intensity isn't the proof of love. Emotional security is. And when old friends or exes try to pull her back into the familiar pattern, she no longer feels tempted, she feels tired. That's growth. Real agency is reclaiming your nervous system from the past. It's understanding that drama is loud, but love is quiet, and that quiet doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means something healthy finally is. In the end, the craving for drama isn't a flaw in women. It's a side effect of being human in a world that confuses noise with meaning. The search for emotional intensity was never really about chaos. It was about wanting to feel alive in a life that forgot how to move. But there comes a moment when the constant adrenaline stops feeling like passion and starts feeling like fatigue. That's when awakening begins. She learns that peace doesn't mean silence. It means stability. It's not the absence of emotion, but the presence of balance. The calm she once ran from now feels like safety earned, not stolen. The relationships she once called boring now feel like sanctuary. She stops mistaking butterflies for anxiety and finally lets her body rest in connection that doesn't require collapse to prove its depth. There's power in that shift. When she realizes she doesn't need emotional earthquakes to feel something, she only needs awareness, attention, and truth. The kind of love that doesn't leave her guessing is the kind that finally lets her breathe. So if drama once made her feel alive, peace now makes her feel real. And that's the quiet revolution. Learning that calm isn't the end of excitement, it's the beginning of wisdom. Because in a world addicted to chaos, the most radical thing she can do is stay steady. And maybe that's the real story here, not why women crave drama, but how they outgrow it.